In this part, we are going to discuss about Scaphopoda, the last class or the seventh class of mollusca. Scaphopoda, you can see in this image, it is Dentalium. Scaphopoda, it is also called a tusk shell. They are popularly known as tusk shell or tooth shell. They are marine, they are burrowing mollusk. It is found in deep waters. Then their body is elongated and it is univalved. Their body is enclosed in a univalved tapering tubular cell. Tubular shell. You can see this is a tubular shell. It's univalve. That means there will be no septa in between the shell. Then the body is divisible into a reduced head. Okay, a reduced head region, then reduced head and conical foot as well as visceral mass. A head is there, this is foot region and visceral mass. Okay, then next one, the two lateral lobes of the mantle become fused mid-ventrally. You can see mantle in this image. This is mantle and it fuse mid-ventrally, okay, and form the conical shell. Then scaphopods are microcarnivore. That means they feed on small foraminiferans. Then they have radula. Then they have a special type of tentacle, and these special type of tentacles are called captacula. This tentacle called captacula. Okay, this is a special kind of tentacle, as well as they have radula for the feeding present in buccal cavity. Gills are absent, so the respiration is through mantle surface or through mantle surface. Then a pair of kidneys are there. It is otherwise it is called nephridia, and it open into the mantle cavity. Okay, they have the nephridia and which open into the mantle cavity. Then sex is separate, single gonad is present. This is the gonad, and sex is separate. Male and female is separate. Fertilization is external. Indirect development, that means involvement of larval form. Either trochophore or veliger larva is there. So our example is Dentalium. It's a small marine burrowing mollusk. It is found in deep water. They are bilaterally symmetrical. They have elongated body. Their body is divisible into head and foot as well as visceral mass. The head is poorly developed. Head is poorly developed, and there will be no eyes in the head. Okay, then foot is conical. This is foot and it is conical in shape. It is used for digging. It's a burrowing animal, so the foot is used for digging. Then the mantle contain two lobes at it fused or united mid-ventrally. It is not in this image. Then it form a tube. So a tube-like shell, it will give rise to the tube-like shell. That means the mantle will secrete external tubular shell, and the shell has two opening at both end, and the mouth is lie in the tip. This is mouth. Okay, mouth is lie at the tip, and a mouth is lie at the tip of a pharynx. It is called snout or proboscis, and the buccal cavity contain radula. We know that radula present in buccal cavity. It's rasping organ, and they have a special type of tentacle called captacula. It is present in the base of snout. That means here will be a pharynx, and the tip of the pharynx radula is present. Sorry, mouth will be present, and in the same side captacula, special kind of tentacle will be present. That's about the dentalium. Next one is about the economic importance of the mollusk. Economic importance of mollusks. Mollusk is very important in food, as a food. There are many mollusks are important source of food for humans, as well as mussel farming. Oyster cultures are there for food, as well as for obtaining pearls. There are so many pearl oysters are there. Then uh, ornamentation, jewelry, etc. So first one about food. We use mollusks as an important source of food. For example, we discussed about the Perna viridis, then squid, loligo, cuttlefishes. These are we use these species for our used as a source of food. Then oysters are there. Examples are there: Perna viridis, Perna indica, etc. And the mussels and squid are eaten in Europe, America, etc. So we use different mollusk, different classes of mollusk as a source of food. Next one is about the mussel farming and oyster culture. Mussel farming and culture of edible oyster is for food, and it is economically also useful for the production of pearl. Okay, then we will get high yielding protein food at a low cost by culturing the mussels and oyster. And the mussels are the most ideal mollusk for farming because they are sedentary in habit. Okay, and they have high productivity. Hmm? And their food source, about their food source, they feed on diatom, plankton, detritus. Okay, it's available in every water body, so it is available in every water body, so it is very easy to cultivate. Common species are Perna viridis, Perna indica, and mussels like Mytilus, Edulis, etc. Then about the pearl industry, there are so many oysters, pearl oyster we culture. For example, Pinctada vulgaris, Pinctada fucata, etc. About the pearl culture we will deal separately. Next one, pearl button. The shells of the freshwater mussels we used for the manufacture of pearl buttons. Also gastropod shell we use for making pearl buttons. Then different shells of different mollusk we used as an ornamentation, or for making jewelry. Then we use different mollusk as a bait. Then to make dyes and pigments or dyes and ink, we will use different mollusks like sepia, cuttlefish, etc. Then we know that the shells of mollusk is made up of calcium carbonate. So the empty shells of bivalves we will use in case of the manufacturing of lime and cement. So it is a raw material for the preparation of lime and cement. Then in many developed countries we use the oyster shell for making rods. We mix the oyster shell with the for constructing the roads. Then next about the pearl culture. Okay, pearl culture. Pearl means it's a calcareous concretion of a peculiar luster secreted by a group of bivalve mollusks commonly regarded as pearl oyster. That means pearl oyster will produce pearl. Okay, when a foreign substance entrapped in the body, they will secrete some layers against that body. It form pearl. Okay, then the pearl bear a central nucleus, and around the nucleus there are several layers of organic, inorganic substance will be deposited. Okay, so the pearl bear a central nucleus, and around the nucleus there will be so many particles are there. Then chemically it is similar to the mother of pearl. That means the shell. Then it contain about 92% calcium carbonate crystals, then 4% organic substances, mainly the conchiolin or conchiolin, that is the organic substance, and 4% of water and other residues. Then the pearl is produced by specialized nacre secreting cells of the mantle epithelium. So pearl is secreted by the specialized cells of the mantle epithelium. So, pearl oyster will produce pearl. Pearl is the central region of pearl contain nucleus. It is surrounded by some materials, or it is deposited. So many materials are deposited around the nucleus. It is secreted by mantle epithelium, specialized cells in the mantle epithelium. That's about the pearl. Then there are so many pearl oysters. Majority the pearl oysters are marine. Some freshwater forms are there. But the superior quality pearls will be produced by the marine pearl oysters, which belong to genus Pinctada. Common example is Pinctada vulgaris, Pinctada fucata, Margaritifera, etc. Then the freshwater pearl oysters are also available, but the freshwater pearl oysters are inferior quality, will produce only inferior quality pearls. Then they are the pearl oysters are bivalve mollusks. We discussed about the class bivalves. Okay. Then naturally the group of pearl oysters called pearl beds or pearl banks, they actually occur on the rock and rocks and they occur on the rocks and corals. Then this one of the bivalve mean it contain two valves are there. One valve permanently attached to the substratum, while other valve is free. They're suspended feeders, they're filter feeders. Then the larva, they have larva, it's called spat, and the larva that hatch out from the egg after a short period of swimming pelagic life sink to the bottom and develop into young oyster called spat. That means it show after fertilization, because of indirect development, there will be a larva, and that larva undergo a short period of free swimming pelagic life. Pelagic life means they are surface feeders. Then after that they sink to bottom and develop into small oyster. This small oyster is called spats. Okay. Then naturally the next is about the pearl formation. Pearl formation is actually it's a defense mechanism. Okay, when a foreign particle entrapped in the body of the pearl oyster, there are so many organic substance will be secreted or deposited around the substance. It is to eliminate that particular body. It is a natural phenomenon. Then that means the mantle epithelium grows to enclose the sac. That means if the foreign body like sand, silt particle, microbe, parasite, or a small planktonic organism, such a foreign body which will cause some irritation. Okay, the mantle epithelium grows over to enclose the sac. If the foreign body trapped in the inside the shell or mantle, the mantle epithelium will grow over the foreign body. Now the nacreous substance secreted by the mantle epithelium is continuously deposited over the foreign body in so many layers, and the layers then harden to form pearl. This is about the pearl formation. Then next one is about the culturing of the pearl. First step is about the collection of oyster. We can collect the oyster from natural pearl buds, as well as by collecting. We can collect also small oysters. It's called spats, oyster seeds, by placing small cages or small ropes near the spat falling areas. Then next is by we can also rear the pearl oyster in laboratories, or we can breed it artificially. These are the three collection methods. So first one is about the collection. Next one is about the preparation of graft tissue. we need a nucleus, that means the foreign body, as well as the mantle epithelium. The mantle epithelium will grow over the foreign body. So we need a graft tissue. We use mantle. Actually, we use mantle from one oyster. Mm? This will grow around the foreign body. And next one is nucleus. Nucleus is the foreign material we inserted into the oyster. Then it serves as an irritant, and the pearl is formed around the foreign body. It is nucleus. Foreign body is nucleus. It is called nucleus. Then the suitable material is molluscan shells. Okay, we can use molluscan shell as nucleus. Then selection of host. We have to collect graft tissue or mantle from one oyster, as well as some foreign material like shells or something like that also. Then we have to transfer this nucleus as well as the graft tissue to host oyster. It's different from the oyster we sacrificed for collection of graft tissue. Okay, so we will select a healthy oyster as a host with a moderate size for the culturing of pearl. Then next one is about the implantation. There are three methods. We can implant the nucleus as well as the mantle tissue in the mantle cavity. First one, we can insert in the mantle cavity. Figure number 12.12, page number 206. You can see the nucleus is inserted in the mantle cavity. Okay. Second one, you can also insert the nucleus in the mantle. Third one and most appropriate method is insertion of the nucleus as well as the mantle strip on the gonads. Okay, and the third one is effective method. Third one is the effective method. So implantation. First one is mantle cavity insertion. The nucleus is inserted between the mantle and the shell. So that is the mantle cavity. So mantle will secrete the nacreous substance over the nucleus, and pearl will develop inside the on the inner surface of the shell. Okay, next one is in the mantle itself. Mantle tissue insertion. The mantle insertion method, second one, that is opening the shell. We have to open the shell walls of the host using a wedge or any instrument. Then a small hole or cut is made on the mantle. We have to open the mantle. Then nucleus placed inside a tiny bag of mantle epithelium. That means we have to insert the nucleus inside the mantle. Then this is the second method. And third one is gonadal insertion. It's an ideal method. So we have to insert the nucleus inside the gonad by making, we have to implant the nucleus into the gonad by making a small incision. Okay, and the procedure is the same as that of mantle tissue insertion. That's it. These are the three methods of insertion of the nucleus and mantle epithelium into the host cell. Next is about rearing of the operated oysters. Rearing, we have to rear the implanted oyster after formation of pearl. The implanted oyster have to placed in the cages suspended from the raft or tied to poles. Raft mean in case of marine oyster, we have to culture the oyster in different systems, either cage or raft systems. Okay, the oysters are left undisturbed, and cage culture has the advantage of protecting the oyster from predators. Okay, in sea we have to rear the oyster inside a cage. So there will be no attacking or any predation or any danger situation inside the cage. So it will be protected by the cage. Then harvesting. Oyster attain maximum size about 5 to 6 years, and the fully grown oyster uh, can be collected, killed, and left to decompose. The shells can be removed. You can see in this image, we can just open the oyster shell, and shell can be removed, and partially and we can take the pearl, and the shell is partially decomposed, the body is rinsed with several changes of water. Finally, pearl settled at the bottom of the container are collected. That means we can remove the shell, and partially decomposed body is rinsed with several changes of water. Then finally the pearl is that means their soft body will decompose. We allow the we first we collect the oyster, then we kill the oyster, then left the oyster to decompose. Then we will after some days, we or some week, we will take the oyster and remove the shell. Then the partially decomposed soft body we will rinse in water. Then finally the pearls will settle down at the bottom, and we will collect the pearl from the bottom. This is about the pearl culture. So collection of oysters, preparation of graft tissue as well as nucleus, then implantation. There are so many methods. We can implant the nucleus and graft tissue in mantle cavity, or in mantle, or in the gonads, as well as we have to select a healthy oyster as a host. Then there are so many harmful mollusks are there, act as herbivore, pest, boring mollusk, as well as some are parasite. You know about snails, are African snails are there. Then so some are parasites. Okay, then predators are also there. So that's about the mollusk. And harmful mollusk is not in your syllabus, so just read the topic harmful mollusk in page number 207 in your textbook. So thank you.